Duty or not, Earl Solano didn't particularly want to serve Her Majesty the Queen. Shortly after getting his citizenship papers, he'd contacted his superiors in England. He wanted to retire. They'd told him that they would take it into advisement. That was so like them. The life he used to lead in England as an agent seemed so long ago, but here he was on a plane, flanked by two other agents reading a short brief on what was expected of him. Welcome back, my friends. I hope you are well, and I am excited that you've returned to my channel, where a hero larger than life and the woman he loves navigate life, career, and love. Please continue to like, share, and for those of you who are new, go back to previous videos to catch up and then subscribe. Earl put the brief down and thought about his wife. He could still see the look of acceptance on her face when she kissed him goodbye. Emma had not tried to hinder his leaving. She had been cooperative. His newborn son, Noah, was another reason he wanted out. He felt that he barely got to know him before he was called in. However, he'd thought ahead and planned for the unexpected. Should anything happen while he was away, his family would be taken care of. He smiled as he recalled Emma's reaction when he confirmed that he was an agent. She had wanted to know if their house was bugged. The fact of the matter was, he did add a few modifications to the house while she was away getting therapy. The security measures he had in place were top of the line. Everything was in place, and short of anything going wrong with the assignment, he should be back home with his family very soon. And then he wanted out. The airport was an overwhelming place if one didn't know how to navigate it, but Earl wasn't a novice. He knew his way around, and he also knew that since his escorts had disappeared, that it was showtime. Sir Winthrop had warned him to be careful and to trust no one. He wondered if the escorts were truly from the Bureau, or goons sent to detain him. If they weren't, then Sir Winthrop had more than one rotten apple in the barrel. Sure that menacing eyes were on him, Earl made his way to the rental booth to see about a car. This was a public place, and there were entirely too many people around for anyone, however accomplished, to make a move against him. That was just the way he wanted it until he could get his bearings. After inquiring about the car, Earl followed the signs to the baggage claim area for his luggage, all the while keeping his movements non-threatening. His assignment was extremely sensitive in that no one but Sir Winthrop knew what he was about. The brief he'd read on the plane only stated that he was part of the security detail for the Prime Minister. Earl frowned as he counted his luggage. There was a suitcase missing. He went to file his complaint and found that most of the passengers from his flight were already on the line for the same reason. So maybe it wasn't anything covert, and maybe it was simply a case of poor management and human error. His case and that of the other passengers had been delayed and would be along shortly. Confident that all was in order, Earl left word with the security office where to deliver his case, since it would never be cleared through normal channels. As he neared the exit, Earl felt the hairs on the back of his neck rise. Trusting his instincts, he veered away from the exit and changed his direction. He managed his way toward the security office once more and flashed his badge. He explained that he wanted to secure the rest of his luggage along with the one they had to clear, and left with the understanding that his luggage may or may not be sent along to his hotel that day. Earl left the security office and caught sight of the men's room and pushed through the door. Freshly cleaned, it reeked of disinfectant. The floor tiles were still wet, and he almost slipped as he cautiously walked further in. He counted 4 vacant stalls and a large window. When he reached the window, he tested it to see if it would open easily. He dropped down to the ground, landing on a heap of black bags. Earl stood up and checked his surroundings as he reached up to pull the window shut. He walked along the wall of the building, keeping his back flush against it. Closing the window didn't certify that whoever was following him wouldn't come through. With the bathroom floor wet, Earl was certain that he left a trail that was easy to follow. That was what he wanted. If there was to be a confrontation, he wanted it kept private, and he wanted room to maneuver. The gun he had retrieved from his case felt comfortable in his hands. When he had reached the end of the wall, he could hear the sound of engines from one of the hangar bays. The huge door was open, and he could see men working there. In his mind, he went over the steps he would take if his pursuers were still after him. He cut across the hangar and hid behind a huge trailer to watch out for them. Sure enough, pursuer number 1 appeared brandishing a gun. Earl watched as he slowed down to scan the area. From his vantage point, Earl could see his every move. The guy was a professional, and Earl realized that he wasn't from the Bureau either. Sir Winthrop had more than a rogue agent on his hands. Whatever was going on was bigger than someone playing both sides. Earl wondered if it had anything to do with what the Prime Minister wanted to accomplish. Earl realized that the other guy wasn't coming. He figured that he was waiting for him out front if Earl circled back. Putting his gun away, Earl turned to lean on the trailer to think. He needed to get away from both men without attracting attention. He peeked around the trailer again and was surprised that now both men were out there. They were talking, and Earl quickly walked along the trailer away from them back toward the bathroom window. When he reached the other end, he looked around again. "You know, Solano, you are hardly a challenge at all," pursuer number 2 said. Earl sighed hugely. "So what do we do now?" He realized that while he was walking along the trailer to get to the other end, so were they. "We have instructions to detain you indefinitely, indefinitely being the operative word. We could tie you up and dump you somewhere, or kill you altogether," pursuer number 2 said. Earl didn't like neither choices and told them so. Inwardly, he was embarrassed at getting caught so easily. He realized that he had gotten rusty. "I like option number 2 best," pursuer number 1 said, and pointed his gun at Earl. Earl raised his hands and wondered if pursuer number 2 knew that he was about to be shot. Just as he thought it, pursuer number 1 turned his gun on his partner and shot him right between the eyes. Earl lowered his arms and shook his head. "For a minute there, you had me going. I thought I recognized the tie, but I couldn't be sure." The black and gold striped tie was a signal of friendship between the Bureau's agents. "I was gambling on the fact that you'd remember it. I didn't know how else to warn you. I was sent to escort you alone and met this bloke at the airport. He said all the right things and handed me a brief with instructions to detain or kill you. It didn't seem right. I tested him in the bathroom. I told him that whenever I killed someone, I always wore my lucky tie. He snorted and told me to do whatever felt right," the good agent explained. "Would you look at that? I killed someone and I was wearing my lucky tie." "Indeed, so how do we proceed? We can't leave him here," Earl stated, pointing to the body on the ground between them. The sound of engines masked the gun's discharge. "You go on ahead to your hotel. I'll take care of him." "Solano, it was a pleasure to finally meet you. You are a legend at the Bureau, a real gentleman." The agent put out his hand and Earl shook it and left him to do whatever it was he was going to do to remove the body. It was also understood between the two gentlemen that their paths would not cross again. Earl made his way back through the airport and out. He drove to his hotel and found that his luggage preceded him and was waiting at the information desk. He took possession of his cases and headed up to his room. He unpacked immediately and debated on whether he should change into more comfortable clothes. He wasn't sure if he would be required to do anything more than taking a leisurely stroll to headquarters or run a marathon to it. He donned comfortable shoes and left the room. It was convenient that he was staying so close. The walk cleared his head. He entered the building and felt that he had stepped backward in time. Nothing had changed. The building was older than dirt but efficiently maintained. The elevator creaked along as always to the 5th floor. He stepped off and made his way to Sir Winthrop's office. Sir Winthrop saw him right away. The elderly gentleman stood up and walked around his desk to greet Earl. It was evident that he was glad to see him. Given his age, one would think that he was past his prime, but Sir Winthrop was as sharp as they come. His silvery hair was slicked back just as always, and his steel gray eyes shone. Earl had great respect for him. Sir Winthrop handed him an envelope, and Earl placed it in his jacket pocket. "Agent Solano, I have every confidence that this matter will be cleared up quickly. I have taken the liberty of attaching you to a partner to make things easier for you. What is happening with the PM is big news and will overshadow your true mission. The PM has asked the Bureau to help with security since Scotland Yard hasn't been able to stem the attempts to ruin the summit. You've worked with Agent Thorne before, so it shouldn't be a problem getting reacquainted. The support we are giving Scotland Yard is your cover, Solano. Agent Thorne was briefed about you joining her, as she had been with this case from the beginning. However, I hadn't told her about my concern nor the real reason you are here. No one is to be trusted," Sir Winthrop said, raising a bushy eyebrow. Earl nodded and noted that the office had been changed drastically. It seemed that it was undergoing some sort of renovation. He opened his mouth to speak and swallowed his comment when the old man raised his hand to stop him. "It is good to see you, Solano. I trust your flight was uneventful," he began, as if he hadn't already said a mouthful. "It is good to be here, sir. The flight was fine, but my welcoming committee wasn't too thrilled to see me, I fear, Earl stated. The old man raised both eyebrows. Tell me about this welcoming committee. Earl told him what happened at the airport. Sir Winthrop tapped a finger on his desk and shook his head. That explains why I didn't hear from you. I was awaiting final confirmation from you. I didn't send 2 escorts, but I did send a memo along the usual route. It all seems so clear now. As you can see, the office is in shambles now. Just before I contacted you, I found a bug. 2 days ago, I had the whole place fumigated and was utterly disgusted to find the place infested. There is an internal investigation going on. 3 other offices have been serviced as well. We've been busy making adjustments, you understand. By God, man, it is good to see you. Earl nodded and wondered exactly what he signed up for. There had been times in the past when things had gotten messy like they were now, but never had it gotten so complicated. The director's office had been bugged? What's next? The person or persons they were dealing with meant business. To what end, he couldn't say, but now he felt fully committed to do his very best. It was late when Earl left headquarters. Out on the street, he felt exposed and hurried to his hotel. Sir Winthrop asked him to rest and to report first thing. Earl took a shower as soon as he had gained his room. He felt confident that he was safe at the moment. He understood that he was being watched, and the near attempt at the airport was only a message telling him that they knew all about him, and possibly the real reason he was in England. Sir Winthrop hadn't actually said anything damaging in either of his official letters sent to him in the States, nor during any of the conversations they'd had on the telephone. This was the first time they'd actually said anything aloud, and it wasn't much. When he was first approached, he had read between the lines and deduced for himself that he was being assigned to rid the Bureau of a double agent, especially after the body of his friend was found. The more he thought about it, the more convinced he became that the agent they were after was a lone rogue. The only thing that bothered him about the assignment was working with his old partner. Agent Thorne and he hadn't parted on the best of terms, and he wondered how she really felt about working with him again. He realized that the next few days were going to be nothing if not stressful for him. He hadn't counted on having to work with anyone at all, let alone with her. Agent Thorne was someone he wanted to keep in his past. She was the one mistake that still bothered him to this day. They'd been lovers. It had been the ultimate faux pas. For many months after it all came out, and after the rumors had begun circulating, he had felt awful. Not awful because he had hurt her, but awful because he had been unprofessional. He had prided himself on being the consummate professional, but he had instead broken every rule in the book by having an affair with his partner. They'd taken steps to keep it under wraps. It wasn't until after 3 years that they had gotten careless. In one evening, it had all fallen apart, and if Earl were to be honest with himself, he had been unhappy in the relationship by that time. He was still fond of her, but something had gone stale, so he had taken the fall for the mistake. There hadn't been any open reprimands or anything of the sort. It was just the atmosphere that had changed at headquarters. No one said anything to him, but he could tell that they'd been talking. The women quickly averted their eyes when he walked into a room, and the men cleared their throats. By then, Earl had begun to feel unfulfilled with his work. He'd been craving something different. Sir Winthrop had been there then, helping him to sort things out. Earl didn't know if he ever knew about the affair, but he helped without prejudice. His help came in the form of a special dispensation. He was able to grant a partial decommission where he was still considered an operative, but not actively working. Earl didn't know how he managed it, but 2 weeks after he had sat down with the old man, he was pulled in for a debriefing, and a few weeks later, Sir Winthrop gave him his blessing to go to America. 5 years later, he was back and ordered to work once more with Agent Sophia Thorne. There was nothing else to do about it. An order was an order, and Earl was going to be objective and professional. Feeling that he could approach the matter with confidence, Earl took out the envelope his boss handed him and read his instructions. It was a short and concise report about what had taken place thus far with the PM and his summit. The PM had been campaigning for a solution to the crisis in the Middle East. The war on terror was getting messy and complicated. The Americans were losing popularity and everyone involved had mixed feelings. The PM, and with others all over Europe, worked up a new strategy, and they'd came up with a salve. At the first attempt to gather together to make final adjustments, there had been a bomb scare followed by a diversion, created by strange odors filtering through the ventilation systems. Needless to say, it became a matter of extreme importance to secure the meetings and such. Finally, Scotland Yard along with the Bureau have come to terms to work together to secure this final attempt. The Prime Minister was prepared to go another route if this last attempt could not convene. Earl looked at his watch and realized that he was hungry and also that he needed to hear his wife's voice. He got up from off the bed and sat at the desk and turned on his laptop. Tapping a few sequence of codes, he connected with the satellite link and waited. A few minutes later, Earl watched his wife as she went about her day. The phone rang and she picked up the cordless lying by the coffee maker. It was her friend Lindora. "Hey girl, why are you up so early?" Emma asked. Her friend never deigned to get out of bed before noon on her days off. Lindora taught classes the night before, and since her husband was on vacation, it was suspicious that she was up and calling. "My mom is over and she's got Marcus, so I wanted to know if I could come by and spend some time with you." Earl marveled at how sophisticated the system was he had installed. Even the phone conversations were clear. Emma smiled. "Just you? I mean, you know that I love my godson, but I'm not in the mood for your mother today." "Girl, you and I are on the same page. Kevin went to the gym and he usually is the buffer between mom and me. So you up for some company?" "Sure. How does your mother feel about babysitting Noah for a few hours? We could go to the gym later if you'd like," Emma said. "Yeah, okay. I'll see you in about half an hour." Emma hurriedly showered and dressed. She was in the kitchen making breakfast when the doorbell rang. She flipped a pancake and went to answer the door. She led the way to the kitchen and pointed to a seat. "All right, girlfriend, why are you really here? Your husband is on vacation, and you could have been waiting to pounce on him the moment he came back. So out with it. But first, if this is something that's going to upset you, I want you to eat. I cook too much, so help me out." Emma dished out the food, and they sat facing each other. Emma ate everything on her plate and glared at her friend who was pushing the food around. "Okay," she said between sips of her coffee. "Out with it. And don't tell me there's nothing wrong. We've known each other too long for you to try to lie to me." "I'm pregnant, and I don't know how to tell Kevin," Lindora blurted out. She looked miserable. "Ooh, I could see where that would be a problem if your husband was a deadbeat. What else is wrong with you?" Emma asked her friend. Earl smiled at that. "Isn't that enough? Marcus isn't even a year old yet, and here I come pushing another baby at him." "You are married. That's what young married couples do. They have babies. Tonight after your mother leaves, cook him a nice meal and then take him to bed. After that, tell him," Emma said. She didn't see where there was a problem. "That's easy for you to say. We hadn't discussed having a second child. If this were you, would you be taking this advice?" asked Lynn, who suddenly got her appetite back and was eating. Emma shook her head. "I can't trick Earl. He'd use his superpowers and just know. Being that your Kevin is an Earl, do as I say. Do you really think he'd have a problem with another child? I've seen him come home and ignore you until he's seen his son. Now, if you could work some magic and give him a daughter, all will be well." "So feed him and make love to him and it's going to be okay?" asked Lynn with a bright smile. "How long have you been horny like this?" Emma asked with a straight face. "Does it show? You are definitely pregnant. I can almost guarantee a girl this time. I couldn't keep my hands off Matt when I carried Sam. Then neither could I when I carried Noah. With Earl, I mean not Matt." Lindora stood up. "So where is my little man?" Emma glanced at the clock. "He should be waking up any minute now, and like most men, he is so predictable. He fussed all night, so I'm not his friend today." "I bet you he's missing his daddy," Lynn said as she climbed the stairs to the baby's room. She turned to Emma following behind her. "Just like his mama. You don't look like you got any sleep either." Earl frowned at that. Not with all that racket he was making. The child loves the sound of his own voice. Emma pointed to him in the crib when they entered the room. "Just look at him laying there pretending to be a good boy. He knew you'd be coming up here to see him, so he's on his best behavior." Emma shook her head at her son. The baby kicked out his little legs and screeched playfully. "Oh, you are such a good boy. Yes, you are," Lynn cooed. She picked him up and he rewarded her with an open-mouthed grin. Earl was also rewarded with full view of his son. Noah was just a little over 3 months old. He was the spitting image of his father. His skin tone had darkened a bit, and Emma still couldn't figure out how that happened. Her son was going to be a charmer, that much she knew. "Oh my, you've gotten so big, sweetheart. You're gonna be tall just like your gorgeous dad. Your mom is gonna have to be on her toes with you. I bet you'll have your own harem in preschool." Earl smiled at that. Emma laughed and handed her friend a diaper. She watched Lynn expertly change her son, and then she put her arms out to take him to nurse. Lynn sat across from them to watch. "Girl, I don't know how you can stand doing that for so long. I really tried, but it just wasn't working. Ooh, look at his cheeks go. Does he eat like that all the time? Or is he showing off for me?" "Every 3 hours like clockwork. I'm planning on weaning him when he turns 4 months, so I've been sneaking formula on him between feedings. He's so greedy, he doesn't suspect a thing," Emma said conspiratorially. "So, did your hubby call yet?" Lynn asked suddenly. "I suspect he will sometime tonight. Don't ask me how I'm faring because it hasn't been that long yet. Ask me in a week and maybe I'll have something to say," Emma said hurriedly. "You know me as much as I know you, and I know that you'll be freaking out by tomorrow. Come out with me and we can take each other's minds off our troubles," offered Lynn. She got up to straighten up the baby's crib to give Emma a little privacy. She'd seen the sheen of tears in her friend's eyes. So did Earl. "I'm okay. I just wish I knew all the answers," Emma said. "If you ask me, I don't understand why a New York cop has to take an assignment in England, even a great cop like he is. Don't they have their own cops over there?" Lynn asked indignantly. Emma laughed. "I trust Earl has a very good reason for taking the assignment. He worked in law enforcement when he lived there, you know, so I gather he's familiar with how things work." She placed her son on her shoulder to burp him. "And besides, I don't think it will take long." "Yeah, well, I still don't think it's right. And it's not fair. Just when things were finally settling down for you guys. At this point in time, you should be working on raising your children and possibly planning on making another one. Speaking of which, I am surprised that you aren't pregnant again yourself. You two went underground there for a minute. Not that I blame you. He is a super gorgeous man." Emma finished nursing and stood up with him. "Does Kevin know about your crush on my husband?" she asked her friend. "Well, no. It's not the kind of thing one tells her husband. He just wouldn't understand that it is completely harmless. But while we are on the subject, aren't you worried that some high and mighty sister might want to snatch him from you? I mean, just look at him." Lynn pointed to the picture of Earl on the wall. "Even I offered to take him off your hands when you first met him. You recall how you denied that you wanted him. Lindora, you need some serious help. Earl and I trust each other, and besides, if he decided that he wanted someone else, how could I stop him? Not that he would do something like that, but he's way over there across miles and miles of ocean." Emma gestured with a free hand. "You never have to worry about that, my love," Earl thought. "He knows how lucky he was when he found you. I don't think he'd cheat on you either. But then again, I will say that he's fine, and fine men can't help but attract attention," Lynn said. Emma nudged her friend out of the way to place her son in the crib. "Seriously, Lynn, you need to stop talking about my husband like that. I might not want to be your friend much longer." "Get out! You can't possibly be jealous of me. I'll tell you one thing, though. If it weren't for my Kevin, I'd really give you a run for your money. Besides, would you rather I lust after him secretly or openly where you can keep an eye on me?" Lynn asked seriously. "Wow, you really need to check that. I suggest two things. One, we go to the gym and work your frustrations out there. Or two, you go home where you and Kevin can have a nice long nap. Tell your mama that Marcus needs some fresh air, and when they leave, you seduce the hell out of Kevin," Emma said with a bright smile. "Can I pretend Kevin is Earl?" Lynn asked with a giggle. "Do whatever floats your boat, but be careful you don't call out the wrong name." Noah started whimpering and Emma peeked into his diaper and wrinkled her nose. "I don't think Noah likes you talking about his daddy like that either. He's not going to be nice to you anymore." Earl punched a few keys and the computer screen went dark. He had seen and heard enough to surmise that his wife and family were okay. The following day, after another meeting with Sir Winthrop, Earl hurried back to his hotel room to call home. He'd promised that he'd call as soon as he was settled. With a 5-hour difference, Emma would just be going to bed. Even though he had seen and heard her, he needed to talk with her directly. With the equipment he had installed, he could hear what Emma said to his son, and when she talked to him at night and with some creative wiring, he could see them as well. Emma answered on the second ring. She knew that it was Earl even before she looked at the caller ID. Hello, Detective. You are punctual as always. I just put Noah down for the night. How are you? Professor, I see your radar is working as well. I am well. You sound fine, are you? I am now that I hear from you. How goes things? I miss you. How is my son? He countered. Emma noted that he hadn't answered her question. I miss you too. Noah is my son too, you arrogant bastard. But he's fine. She heard him laugh. It sounded good, very good. Give our son a kiss for me when he awakens. The airline lost my luggage. I have pictures of you and Noah in them, so you can imagine my agony, he told her. It was true if late. I hope they find them soon. I slipped a little surprise in them for you. When do you start work? Emma asked him. She peered at her ringless hand and frowned. I started this morning. I didn't think I'd miss you this much so soon. Can you imagine the shape I'll be in a few days from now? What surprise? Suck it up, dude, but I understand. I missed you when I made coffee. You usually have it all set up for me. I almost forgot how to work the damn thing. And as for your surprise, you just have to wait and see. Life is truly tough. Anyway, I wanted to hear your voice and to know that you are okay. What did you do today? Earl got up to answer the knock on his room door. It was room service. He hadn't eaten all day. He'd been getting reacquainted with the city. I just got my luggage delivered. I can look at your beautiful face until I fall asleep tonight, Earl said happily. Good for you. So where exactly are you staying, Detective? In case I need to get in touch with you, where would I inquire about you? My superior, Sir Winthrop, has me booked into a very nice place. I'm staying at the London Marriott Hotel, but I must warn you that I probably won't be there for the most part. I imagine that I'll be in the field during the day, so you might try reaching me through my cell. Emma didn't want to continue with the light banter anymore. She missed her husband, and there were miles and miles of ocean between them. Detective, how are we going to do this? Just be strong for a little while longer. I do have some good news, however. At the briefing today, I got an idea of how long this assignment will take. It shouldn't be more than 2 weeks at the most, barring nothing going wrong, that is. It is basically a manhunt, and I'm not the only one on this hunt. It is really all neat and tidy, Earl said, hating that he was telling her a half-truth. Okay, I don't much care who you're hunting for, but I want you back home in one piece. You promised me. Lindora entertained me the other day. She's pregnant again and didn't know how to tell Kevin. I told her to make love to him and then tell him. Earl's chuckle filled her ear. That should go over well. Did you tell her that Kevin will be thrilled? I did. Her mother says hello too, Emma said with a wicked smile. Earl was more than a little uncomfortable with Lynn's mother. Right. Look, love, I've got to hang up now. I don't really want to, but I must. I love you more than I can say. Will you kiss Noah for me? You know I will. I love you too, Earl. You'll call me tomorrow night, right? Yes, love, that's the plan. Sleep well. Earl hung up before she could answer. You too, she replied to the dial tone. Well, that's it for now. Comment where you are viewing from and what time it is there. Tell me where you think the story is going. I promise to read and answer. Continue to like, share, and please subscribe.